Okay, Daniela, um, have you benefited from these days that we do?
From the days,
The music
the
days.
music days,
Yes.
yeah, I really enjoyed it a lot. So when I came for the first time, I didn't know what to expect. I really had no idea what was going to happen. I just knew there is something going on, and there will be music, and it will be filmed, and there was a dancer needed to do something with it, and I didn't know really what. I didn't know how you will work. So I was a bit like, okay, what am I supposed to do? And I needed some time to ask for what my needs are in that, so how to work. And when I did that, and then everything was offered to me what I need. And because I quite enjoy movement, sounding, and adding words, so whatever comes out of the body, I started just to put in words as well.
That was exciting because I hadn't expected that.
Yeah.
And when you do add words, they add meaning. They're not gratuitous.
Yeah.
That's good.
And because I come from acting, and then now dance, acting, clowning, back to dance, back to movement, into the body, and out of the body normally comes the story. In the body the feeling is stored, so if I just follow the body, whatever it does, then there comes a feeling with it, and then there comes a word. And normally I speak quite a lot, and I really like that, having that really reduced, just like little words or one sentence and a movement, and especially also working with Liz on the violin, or Joy? Was it
Joy on the flute?
Joy on the flute, or with
George
Steve?
on the drum?
Yeah,
Steve?
working together, which felt really like there was a dialogue between different genres, like music, dance, acting, and also working with the words that you've written, like the poems and the text. So that was really great. Quite exciting, and I always made when I had a bad day before, and I felt quite, life is not so nice today. And I came here, I felt like, wow, so many people, and they are doing really lovely music, and really it was lighting all my day. So I felt always very happy leaving.
That's good. And you've done, I don't know, maybe 10 days now.
Yeah.
Is it still interesting? It's not too boring?
It is still interesting because watching the videos, I find out what I do quite a lot, or what my preferences are in movement, and finding out to break that or to make it more interesting for myself. So for me, it's really, really good to have a DVD to look at, because normally I improvise and I never save what I do. So what I do always comes out of the moment, and having a bit of material to look at is quite interesting for me, and there's lots of learning for me in it.
So you can actually go over it and think how you might do it differently. So that's real learning.
Yeah. So
although it's improvised, so you've got to tackle actually deeper down, haven't you?
Yeah. It is still improvised, but there's also I think I quite have my own structure already, and I come very much from the inside and from the feeling and from my core, and then I trust that the story develops. And working with the text also, which comes from the outside, when you've written it, or the structure or the idea, and then me coming from the inside, it's like a meeting point with an outer structure and my inner structure, and what comes out of that is a bit more structured.
I remember one thing you did.
Yeah.
You had one of my lyrics, and I think there was Liz with you, and you were thinking of doing some music to it, and you were going to move to it.
Yeah.
But you just folded it in, or you saw it was folded in half.
Yeah.
And then you used it as if it was a butterfly.
Yes.
And the words were ignored.
Yeah.
It just became a prop.
Yeah, it became a prop.
That's lovely.
It became a prop because I did read the words, and I had that kind of resistance, and normally I go with this resistance. So if I can't make it my own by just repeating what the words are, and it doesn't quite fit, then I use it differently, probably. And that makes a totally, completely new story. And in the end, I can relate to it again, because there was something about that sheet of paper in the beginning and I couldn't really get to it. But in the end, I could connect with it. But I have to go with that resistance and my own, like, oh, what do I do with this piece of paper now? What do I do with it? Okay, I play with, what do I do with this piece of paper? And that becomes the play.
Yes.
So whatever is present in that moment becomes then the play. I make the choice to play it instead that I'm being played with it or I try to do something else.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hang on, the light. Danielle, I was thinking about mime. They tend to use imaginary props.
Yeah.
But you work quite well. I think of the telephone.
Yeah.
You work really well with an actual prop.
Yeah.
Is that what you prefer to do?
Yeah, I do not like to pretend things that are not there. I like to work with things that are really there in that moment. I do not like to pretend. I find it difficult to pretend. To act as if is not something that I like to do. Unless I open that I act as if. Because when I open it to an audience and I say, oh, now I have to be sad. I am not really sad, but I am trying to be sad now, so I pretend I'm really, really sad, and then it becomes real again. So I can then pretend to be crying or whatever, and it's real again because I've opened that I'm pretending, and then I can do or act as if.
So this is a huge difference between your gestural type of movement
Yeah.
and mime,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Because mime is always about pretending other things,
Yeah.
other forces
Yes.
or flower
Yeah.
they find,
Yeah.
aren't
Yeah.
they?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, what have you preferred with the days that we've been working?
What I have preferred.
Yeah, what's the best thing really?
I think for me one of the best things was when I was giving myself permission really to play with what is happening for me in each play, or especially when it already starts when we haven't really started. So like Andrew hasn't started to film, or you haven't started to film, but the play already starts. So there was one scene, for example, where we wanted to do something together as a trio, a song or something, or there was also a poem going with it. And then somebody wasn't quite there, but I had already started to play, like, look, they're coming,
Yes.
They're far away, and I could see that they're there. So I had started to play, although we hadn't really started.
Yes, and
And
you
then-
got excited that they were coming.
And I got excited, and I kept going, and they entered the play, and we had all these really lovely improvisation that was coming out of nothingness, really. Unplanned, completely unplanned, but just really nice.
Yes.
Enjoyed that.
Yes, I think that's what Maria's getting out of the
Yeah.
days, is the fact that she's been trained
Yeah,
to practice
yeah,
and to perform perfectly without mistakes.
yeah,
And she's actually gone and produced things
yeah,
which are completely unplanned.
Yeah.
That's been very exciting.
yeah,
But I think for me, one of the things that's exciting about the days is working with other people,
yeah,
always different people.
yeah.
That's special, isn't it?
It is really special, yeah. And very often I meet lots of people here who have many talents, and I'm quite jealous. Because they can write, they can paint, they can sing, they can play music, and I just can a bit of everything. But still, I can enjoy it. And it's the enjoyment that makes it really, I think that what makes people like it. I like to see people when they enjoy themselves. That's what I like the most, when they enjoy themselves.
Have you, has any kind of different kind of thinking happened about what you do since you've been working with people like Liz or Steve, or? Because you come from this quite strong idea of the German,
Mm.
and you're kind of following that thought, aren't you?
Yes.
So that's directing you, isn't it, in a way?
It is, but because I am working a lot with the archetype of the fool, which is really, I see a mirror image of myself in everybody. It doesn't really matter, and so improvising or working with that archetypes gives a lot of permission to be anything. So the performance or what the piece of art could be anything. it doesn't need to follow a certain style. And I am very interested in mixing these different, to do something completely. No, I'm not even interested in doing. I don't want. It's not my intention to do something completely different or compare it to somebody else, or that I go for. I have to do something that is different to others. That's not what I'm thinking about. I just do. I just follow my intuition, and also sensing the relationship with the other player as an instrument or as the person. Like some of the players, like Liz, who does the violin, can also play. So she uses the violin, the sound, the music, the sounds, and all her body. And there's also a relationship happening when we improvise together.
And she dragged the violin along the floor, didn't she?
Yeah. Or she invites me to play with it, or she's leading
Yes.
my hand, and there is a story in for me. Like last time I said something like, I allow her to lead me because I'm trusting her, and I could play the violin while she was leading my hand.
Yes.
So I can do it. And she's leading my hand.
Yes,
I'm
lovely.
what I'm doing. So it was quite exciting.
Yes, it's unfair really to ask you because you haven't seen the DVDs of about the last 6 or 7 days.
Yeah.
But obviously, I mean, for instance, your Jekyll and Hyde one, where you go from the evil
Yeah.
to the good, was wonderful, and you could see that improving as you did it more and more.
Yeah.
That was
It's
lovely.
making the connection between the more dark side of my personality, which is there, the shadow side, and the light side, the bright side. And that relates to what I've learned through movement and Laban, because the theory is that movement is made up of 4, or the dynamic of movement is made up of 4 different factors: weight, time, flow, and space. Weight, time, flow, space. And I can make combinations out of that. So there is something that is really, really dark, like a dark spell. Yeah, and I can mix that like colors. Like you mix a really dark, browny, grey, disgusting, ugly thing. So I can mix that through these factors. And that becomes then really dark, and I connect that part of my personality or of myself, and the other side, which is really light, bright, indulging, flexible.
So that you actually think about, when you're going to do the evil,
Mhm.
do you think about those 4 elements? Or do you just gradually add the ingredients a bit
I do not.
instinctively?
I think I do not need to think about it
No.
anymore. I know that they are there, and I know what makes that kind of a character, and so I know what I'm doing. I do not need to think about it, but you can see it. So it's probably being very direct and without any time, and it will be quite strong in the energy, and it's like a dark spell, something like that.
Yes. There's a bad loose, don't you?
Yeah. There's something very tight, direct,
With the
and
good.
and with the good it goes flexible and light, and
Yeah. Lovely.
and free, and the evil control, being really strong and control. So yeah.
Good. Well, thank you very much, Daniella.